Hello everyone. In the last video we came up with an equation for the whole timing analysis. So let us try to look into each and every parameter of this particular equation in some detail. So delta 1 was the launch flop clock network delay. Delta 2 is the capture flop clock network delay. So what does that mean? At delta 1, at a time equal to delta 1, the launch flop will receive a clock edge over here. At time equal to delta 2, the capture flop will receive the clock edge over here. And the delta 1 minus delta 2 was nothing but the skew. Okay, that was plain and simple. So now what happens when the launch flop receives the clock edge over here? It sends the data to the outside world, and this data will take some amount of time to start from Q pin to reach the D pin, and that amount of time is referred to as theta. Okay, and the capture flop on the other hand, whenever it receives a clock edge over here, it has already some existing data which it has to send out of the capture flop. So there is some amount of work that is involved within the capture flop, and that time required for the capture flop to do that amount of work is nothing but hold time h. So capture flop requests that you please hold your data unless and until I finish my work. It's as simple as that. So basically it says that the combinational delay or the delay that is from this point to this point, or rather from this point to this point, that should be greater than the whole time of the capture flop, because during that particular period of time it's doing some amount of work, it's doing some processing, and the processing is nothing but to send the existing data to the outside world. So that's the amount of work that the capture flop is doing, and it needs some finite amount of time, and during that period it doesn't want to accept any kind of data over here. Else if it accepts the data within that time, within this whole time, the data which is already present might get corrupted. So that's the reason it doesn't want to accept any kind of data during the whole time. So it's plain and simple. It says that the combinational delay should be greater than the processing time of the capture flop, which is nothing but the whole time. Okay, next what we'll do is, since we know that this clock signal which is present over here, it has to pass through the complete silicon and then reach the launch flop and the capture flop. And silicon is nothing but you can consider silicon as a road. It has got some variations, it has got some holes inside it, it has got some bumps and all. It's just like a road. So there is a variation on the chip on the chip itself. So the clock signal which is supposed to reach at launch flop clock endpoint at delta 1, it won't come at delta 1. It might come at delta 1 plus 50 picoseconds or delta 1 minus 50 picoseconds. So that uncertainty is still there. Similarly, for this clock port to reach at the capture flop clock endpoint, it might not reach exactly at delta 2, but at delta 2 plus minus 50 picoseconds. So that uncertainty is possibly there. So what we'll do is we'll try to model that particular uncertainty. So it might also happen that it reaches over here delta 1 minus 50 picoseconds and it reaches over here delta 1 plus 50 picoseconds. Sorry, delta 2 plus 50 picoseconds. So you see there is an uncertainty, there is some value of uncertainty, and so what we have to do is we have to actually model this uncertainty value into this particular equation. Basically we have to make this equation more pessimistic. By pessimistic I mean that the initial case was delta 1 should be greater than h if the skew is exactly equal to 0, which is delta 1 minus delta 2. If the skew is exactly equal to 0, we say that the combinational delay should be greater than the processing time of the capture flop. In presence of uncertainty, what we say is the combinational delay should be greater than the processing time of the capture flop plus some amount of uncertainty that will be because of the on-chip variation and the phenomena that we just explained, delta 1 plus or minus 50 picoseconds, that is called as the clock jitter. So we will model the hold uncertainty in the equation itself and try to bring a small amount of pessimism inside the equation, saying that the combinational delay, which was supposed to be greater than hold time only, now it has to be greater than hold time plus the hold uncertainty. So that is the amount of pessimism that we are trying to bring into this particular equation, just to make sure that whenever this chip is present on whenever this particular circuit is present on a chip, the circuit should be functioning correctly. So to take care of that, we are trying to bring an amount of uncertainty in the whole timing equation itself. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll try to group these equations. So the right hand side will be again called as data required time, the left hand side will be called as data arrival time, and the reasons are pretty obvious. The definition of the data arrival time itself says that the amount of time required for the data to arrive at the D pin, and the data required time, it says that this is the required time, this is the amount of time that is required, that is being given to you as a required data. And the equation says that the data arrival time should be greater than data required time. This is exactly in contrast with the one that we had for setup timing equation. So you might want to have a look into the setup timing videos as well to compare the equation between this one and the previous one. So in this case, the data arrival time minus the data required time is called as the slack, because that's when we expect a positive value, and slack should always be positive or zero, because slack is nothing but the in layman terms, slack is nothing but something which is lagging behind, something which is lagging behind the expected time. So in this case, positive is always better. We want to see in order to maintain the definition of slack, so we do that the data arrival time should be greater than data required time, and that is expected. If that happens, we get a positive slack, and hence we say that the slack should be positive or zero. Hence you see a reverse in the equation compared to the setup timing. In setup timing, it was data required time minus data arrival time, because in that case the scenarios were completely different. It's a different kind of analysis as well. In the whole time, we have the data arrival time should be greater than data required time, and hence as a result of that, we need that the data arrival time minus the data required time should be called as slack, and it should be positive. If it is negative, it will be again clear from the negative value that the data required time has exceeded data arrival time, and we have to do something about it. We have to try to bring the data arrival time by some means greater than data required time in case of whole timing. Okay, so what we'll do is, since we have these equations with us, now we will try to see the impact of the clock tree that we have built on the whole timing also. We have done the same thing for this setup timing. Now we'll do the same thing for the whole timing. So what we'll do is we'll try to insert some buffers in the launch flop clock path. So if you see, if you try to insert one buffer with the delay x in the launch flop clock path, the equation that you see over here will be theta plus delta 1 plus x, which is the delay of the buffer that we just added. So that's always, you see, it's always beneficial for us to add a delay in the launch flop clock path, because that is actually increasing your data arrival time, and that is what is expected. It should be greater than the data required time. So this is a very good strategy or very good methodology to fix hold, or basically to in cases wherever you see that the data arrival time goes less than data required time, you can actually, without touching the data path, you can just insert a clock buffer in the launch flop clock path and try to increase the data arrival time, and so that this equation meets. But again, there is a con to this. There are pros and cons. So the problem with this thing, you have seen addition of buffers in the launch flop clock path, how it affects the setup timing. So you have to be very careful while adding buffers in the clock path, because this is not the only flop that this particular clock port is driving. There could be multiple flops that this particular clock port is driving, and there could be multiple paths that might get affected because of this strategy. So this is a very good strategy, but it should be followed very carefully. It is a very careful strategy that we need to follow over here. So this is one thing. Now if you try to increase the number of buffers in the launch flop clock path, at the left hand side of the equation goes even bigger, and you see there is an effect in the there is a very good impact, very good effect of this particular strategy on the hold timing. We are meeting hold by a much more positive margin. So there is an advantage to add buffers in the launch flop clock path, but again there is a disadvantage to this, which we have already seen in the setup timing videos, where adding clock buffers in the launch flop clock path might degrade your setup timing. So there are pros and cons, but yes, this is always a good technique to fix the hold violations, to fix the hold slacks, but it should be used very carefully. Okay, next what we have is we will try to add buffers in the capture clock path and see what happens. So once you add a buffer over here with delay X, you see at the right hand side your data required time is actually increasing. So if your data required time is actually increasing, already you had an amount of pessimism which is present over here. On the top of that, we are making the stringent requirement. We are making the data required time requirement more stringent, saying that the theta which was supposed to meet which was supposed to be greater than hold time plus the hold uncertainty, now it has to be greater than hold plus hold uncertainty plus an extra amount of delay. And if you try to continue this, let's say if you try to keep on adding buffers in the clock path, the data required time equation becomes more and more stringent. If you see one more buffer, if you add over here, there are the amount of delay that it gets added in the right hand side of the equation, that is the data required time, that becomes 3x the existing data required time, which was h plus hold uncertainty. So now it's h plus hold uncertainty plus 3x. Assuming delta 1 was equal to delta 2, but now it won't be equal, because now delta 1 and delta 2 is the capture flop clock path has got a delay of delta 2 plus 3x. So there is a 3x amount of skew that is present in this equation, and due to this 3x amount of skew that is present in the hold timing equation, you see there is a data arrival time is no more greater than the data required time, and because of this extra amount of skew, because of the unbalanced skew in the clock tree, you see how the timing might go. Timing is actually going bad. So that's why we have been from the beginning of these videos, we have been specifying on zero skew methodology techniques or zero skew techniques for clock tree building. So this was the actual reason, because skew has a very greater impact on the timing, and this becomes a very painful job to fix all these uncertainties. So before even building a clock tree, we look for a zero skew equation. We look for a zero skew clock tree techniques. So what we'll do is, since I'm already running out of time, we'll talk more about the skew thing over here, and we'll talk more about the hold timing analysis, hold timing. Actually, we'll looking into more into hold timing after adding these buffers and see what can go wrong. Basically, this is what can go wrong, but we'll talk more. We'll spend a little bit more amount of time on this particular explanation, and we'll try to conclude whatever we did in this set of videos. So let us try to do all this in the next video. Thank you.